In this pod, we'll assess the immediate impact of the First World War on Germany, socially, economically, and politically.
The First World War ended on the 11th of November 1918, when armistice was agreed between Germany and the Allies. Germany's approaching defeat had been obvious since September of the same year, and the effects of its defeat were widespread. Stéphane Audin-Rousseau, a French historian, described Germany as humiliated in different ways by the defeat of 1918. Let's look closely at the different ways Germany was affected by defeat.
The end of the war left a huge social impact upon Germany. Much of the country was suffering from war weariness. Like other nations, Germany lost huge numbers of soldiers. This had a profound psychological impact upon the families who were left behind. Anxiety and anger began to flourish, made worse by soldiers returning from the front. Many remaining soldiers were unwilling to believe Germany had been defeated. Very quickly, rumours and suspicions began to arise concerning German minority groups. This led to the stab-in-the-back myth that was later used by Hitler. The myth suggested that it was weak politicians who called for peace against the wishes of army leaders seeking to continue the fight. Many of the new political leaders were Jewish, leading citizens to believe that Jews were responsible for forcing Germany's defeat.
Germany was also suffering economically in the aftermath of the First World War. Agriculture had greatly suffered, as many farmers fought in the war, leaving fields bare and harvests wasted. The impact was profound and left Germany unable to feed its own people. During the First World War, agricultural output had already begun to decrease. For example, milk production had fallen by 50%.
The situation was made significantly worse by the British naval blockades, leading to the turnip winter of 1916 to 1917. In this winter, food was so scarce that the majority of the population lived exclusively on root vegetables, commonly used for livestock. Substitute foodstuffs were produced in an attempt to combat shortages. However, the nutritional values were poor, and the German population started to suffer from malnourishment. The effects of poor agricultural output continued after the 1918 defeat. They continued to be felt by the population through starvation, disease, and high mortality rates.
Industry had also been immersed in a total war effort. Machinery used during the war had either been destroyed, salvaged, or used to such an extent that it was no longer fit for purpose. Raw materials were low, and Germany could not afford imports. The country was also facing huge debt. Initially, the debt was confined to the governmental costs incurred from running a war economy. However, this quickly escalated in 1919, when Germany were forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles and pay reparations to the victorious Allied countries. To make matters worse, the international trading community ignored Germany. Traditional trading partners began to favor trade with the victorious nations. This made rebuilding extremely difficult, if not impossible.
The political situation was even worse. Wilhelm II abdicated on the 9th of November 1918. As the largest party in the Reichstag, the Social Democratic Party of Germany, or SPD, came to power. Friedrich Ebert became Chancellor. Due to the extremely unstable nature of the country, Ebert immediately declared that Germany would be run as a republic in coalition with other socialist parties. We now know this as the Weimar Republic.
However, this was not enough to prevent different parties and groups seeking control of Germany. The traditional elites of the country no longer enjoyed the protection of the Kaiser and sought security. Extreme left-wing revolutionaries and communists saw the weaknesses of the SPD coalition as an opportunity to gain control of Germany. Ebert was forced to arrange ex-soldiers into a Freikorps to help him maintain control of the country. It was also to defeat the left-wing revolutionaries during the Spartacist Rising in January 1919 and other smaller uprisings in the following months.